When you think of Stone Cold Steve Austin, you think of rebellion, defiance, and a man who took absolutely zero disrespect from anyone in the wrestling business.
Stunner.
But there's one wrestler he never respected and actually hated behind the scenes. Double J Jeff Jarrett. And trust me, the reasons are deeper than you think. This wasn't just about clashing personalities. This was about pride, respect, and years of bitterness that started way before Austin was even stone cold. To really understand why Austin couldn't stand Jarrett, you have to rewind back to WCW in the early 90s. At that time, Austin was still Stunning Steve, busting his body night after night, putting on great matches but barely making enough money to live. He was paid peanuts, and on top of that, he was never treated as a top guy. Meanwhile, Jeff Jarrett came strolling in with his Memphis connections. His father Jerry Jarrett backing him, and guess what? He was getting paid way more than Austin. He was favored by management, booked in better spots, and carried himself like he was above guys like Austin. And that's what lit the fire. Austin saw Jarrett looking at him like he was nothing, just another undercard guy, not worth his time. And if there's one thing Austin never forgot, it was when someone underestimated him. Fast forward to the late 90s in WWE. Austin had reinvented himself, created Austin 316, and become the biggest star in the entire industry. And here comes Jeff Jarrett, trying to cut a promo by calling Austin 316 blasphemy. Now think about that. Austin 316 wasn't just a slogan, it was the rocket that took him to superstardom. It was his connection to the fans, his moneymaker. And Jarrett, the same guy who once looked down on him in WCW, was now mocking the very thing that made him a megastar. For Austin, that wasn't just a promo, it was personal disrespect all over again. The tension only got worse when Vince Russo pitched the idea of a feud between Austin and Jarrett. Austin flat out refused. He didn't just say no, he buried Jarrett. Austin told Vince McMahon that Jeff Jarrett wasn't on his level, that he didn't have the toughness, the charisma, or the credibility to go toe-to-toe with Stone Cold. Let's be honest. When the biggest draw in wrestling says he won't work with you, your career hits a wall. According to one of the WWE writers, Austin even went as far as telling McMahon directly, "Jeff Jarrett will never draw a dime with me." That one line killed any chance of Jarrett ever having a top spot in WWE. It wasn't just about the blasphemy promo, it wasn't just about ego, it was about years of bitterness. From WCW, where Jarrett was paid big money while Austin struggled, to WWE, where Jarrett tried to leech off Austin's success, Stone Cold never forgot. Number 2. When you talk about wrestling icons, two names stand at the very top: Stone Cold Steve Austin and Hulk Hogan. But here's the shocking reality: Austin didn't admire Hogan. He despised him. And the truth behind this hatred explains why the biggest dream match in wrestling history never happened. By the late 90s, Austin was the heartbeat of WWE. He was the Attitude Era. But to him, Hogan represented everything fake and political about wrestling. Hogan wasn't just a wrestler, he was a politician in tights. He pulled strings backstage, buried opponents who threatened his spot, and made sure the story always ended the same: Hogan standing tall. For Austin, who had clawed his way up from the bottom with no favors, no famous last name, and no politics, it was disgusting. Austin believed the business should be about who earns the fans' respect in the ring. Hogan was the opposite, a man who used power plays to stay relevant. Remember, Austin was in WCW before becoming Stone Cold. And who was ruling WCW at the time? Hulk Hogan. Austin watched how Hogan walked into WCW with creative control, pushed his buddies to the top, and made sure nobody else could outshine him. If you weren't in Hogan's circle, you didn't get far. Austin never forgot that. He saw firsthand how Hogan's politics suffocated the company. To Austin, Hogan wasn't just a star. He was a cancer that held back better talent. Fans begged for it. Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Hulk Hogan at WrestleMania. The ultimate clash of eras. But here's the truth. It didn't happen for one reason: Austin didn't want it. Behind the scenes, Austin made it clear: "I don't trust Hogan in the ring, and I sure as hell don't trust him outside of it." Austin believed Hogan would try to control the match, manipulate the finish, and make himself look like the hero one more time. And Austin wasn't about to let Hulk Hogan's ego bury everything he had built with Austin 316. For Stone Cold, protecting his legacy meant more than giving fans a so-called dream match. And it wasn't just business, it was personal. When Hogan returned to WWE in 2002, he praised The Rock as the future of the business. But notice something? He didn't say the same about Austin. And that's why the match never happened. Not because of timing, not because of injuries, but because Austin flat out refused to share his ring with Hulk Hogan. Because Hogan was everything Austin despised. A political manipulator, a spotlight hog, and a man who refused to respect the guy who truly carried WWE on his back. Number 3. Brock Lesnar was billed as the next big thing. Stone Cold Steve Austin defined the Attitude Era.
And dropping
On
stunner.
paper, it should have been a passing of the torch, an epic rivalry for the ages. But instead, it became one of the most infamous walkouts in WWE history. In June 2002, WWE had huge plans for Brock Lesnar. He was young, powerful, and Vince McMahon's hand-picked future. The idea? Have him defeat Stone Cold Steve Austin in a King of the Ring qualifying match, on free television, with zero build-up. Think about that. WWE's biggest star, the man who carried the company through the Monday Night Wars, was asked to lose to a rookie on a random Monday Night Raw. No storyline, no pay-per-view payoff, just a throwaway match. For Austin, that wasn't just bad booking, it was flat-out disrespect. Austin didn't refuse to lose to Brock. That's the myth. What he refused was the way it was being done. In his mind, a match between Stone Cold Steve Austin and Brock Lesnar was WrestleMania level. It could have been the passing of the torch. It could have drawn millions. Instead, WWE wanted to give it away for free. Austin called it the dumbest idea I ever heard. And instead of playing along, he made the boldest move of his career. He walked out. Here's where the hatred comes in. To Austin, Brock wasn't just another opponent. He became the symbol of WWE's disrespect. And here's where the hatred came in. Austin felt Brock was being handed the world on a silver platter. No storyline, no grind, just a rocket strapped to his back at Austin's expense. Austin saw shades of Hulk Hogan in Brock's push. Management forcing one guy to the top while disrespecting everyone else's legacy. And if there's one thing Austin hated, it was being treated like a pawn in someone else's power game. So what did he do? He walked out. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the face of WWE, packed his bags and left the company because of Brock Lesnar. That's how strongly he felt about it. After the walkout, the relationship between Austin and WWE soured, and Austin's bitterness toward Brock grew. To him, Lesnar wasn't just the next big thing. He was the guy WWE tried to use to erase the Austin era overnight. And Austin never forgot it. Even years later, in interviews, he admitted the decision left a bad taste in his mouth. He respected Brock's talent, but he hated the way WWE tried to use Brock to undercut everything Stone Cold had built. Thanks for watching, I will see you in the next video.